Hello, this is News Live on Viewer Television. I am Jay Malik. The headlines. Drama's Imo Assembly impeach Speaker and Museum installs eBay. Ikoyi collapsed building death toll hit 44 plus. Sierra Leone's President Julius Maada visit Freetown explosion sites. The news. The lawmakers of the Imo State House of Assembly have impeached the Speaker of the House, Paul Museum All Progressive Congress APC, and replaced him with a ranking member Kennedy Ibe APC as the new Speaker. The report says the impeached Speaker was not allowed into the chamber for the plenary session as the temporary assembly complex of Juku Center, Owerri. Now, the security after disallowing him continued making calls, but when it became apparent that they would not allow him in, he drove away. Now, sources say out of 18 out of 27 members of the assembly who signed the impeachment document, above 10 were present. The fresh crisis rocking the Imo Assembly erupted last week, November 2nd, when the Deputy Speaker Mara Chanya APC Wangele constituency was removed from office. Naimezem was accused of expediting the process of impeaching Owanyanwu, having quickly acted on a resolution document presented to him by the member representing Osu constituency Ekene, specifying that 18 members of the assembly, including the head 6 suspended members, resolving to impeach Iwanawu. Now let's take it to Lagos State, where 7 days after a 21-story building collapsed on Girard Road in the Ikoyi area of Lagos State, recovery operation is still ongoing by rescue agencies. Now, newsmen learned that responders were already concluding the operation as the death toll hit 44. Earlier report shows the 21-story building crumbled last Monday around 2 p.m. The skyscraper, owned by Foursquare Height Limited, trapped over 50 persons, including the firm's managing director Femi Osibona, his friend, a United States of America-based Nigerian businessman Wale Bob Osheni, his personal assistant Onyeye Enekwe, and clients. Now, since the incident happened, family members of victims and sympathizers had thronged the area daily, hoping to see their loved ones alive, while some lamented that they were not allowed to identify their loved ones. Now, the affected families were, however, granted access on Saturday to find their loved ones among the corpses recovered and deposited in the Lagos Mainland Hospital morgue. Now, the federal government, through the Ministry of Education, has mandated the West African Examination Council to conduct national identification number registration for candidate registering for the West African Senior School Certificate Examination. Now, this was disclosed in a memorandum of zonal coordinators titled "And Quote Registration of Candidate for WASSCE and PC with the National Identification Number (NIN). Only candidates with national identification numbers would be eligible to register for WAEC or WASSCE. Now, Ambassador Ku Jianchun of the People's Republic of China to Nigeria promised China's support to Nigeria in developing its traditional medicine and as well to boost Nigeria's economy. Q disclosed this in Abuja during a seminar lecture on developing Nigerian Chinese traditional medicine organized the Nigerian Youth Congress in collaboration with the Chinese Cultural Center. He said Nigeria has a huge potential which, when properly harnessed with the support of the Chinese government, will boost the country's economy and promote good health and longevity to citizens. Mohammed Abdullahi, the Minister of State, Science and Technology, said that the goal of President Muhammadu Buhari is to eradicate poverty and herbal medicines has been revealed to yield about $50 billion by 2030.
How can we find a program? We believe the youth is the future of Nigeria, not only Nigeria, but how can we give the youth opportunity to take the lead to develop this country? So we think that how can we find this project in medicine is a good project. I fully promise the President blessing that how can we find a way, and also talk to the special advisor, how can we give the opportunity to youth people, not only use the technology of medicine and try to build a project not only benefiting the people but also benefiting the economy. This is, I'm thinking that how can we establish or pilot a project? Because traditional medicine really is important to the international community. And I do believe in Nigeria, we have our special advantage. How can we capitalize our advantage and try to bring young people in these sectors and to let them take the lead to build we can see this is the reason I'm thinking this seminar or lecture, I do believe that if we can make it successful, and I think that will be a good template for us to expand the food security.
The ministry, through its agencies, are willing to support the youth who have innovative ideas and interests in herbal medicine, as we have been partnering with appropriate institutions and some traditional medicine practitioners across Nigeria to facilitate scientific evaluation, clinical trials, and registration of herbal recipes found to be therapeutic for the management of disease. The ministry is willing to collaborate also with the Chinese government to improve herbal medicine in Nigeria, and have successfully sent traditional medicine practitioners to China for adequate training, and will continue to collaborate.
I think we initiated this with the Chinese embassy. I met the ambassador some few months ago, and we discussed on a way we can be able to collaborate to do so many things. Part of it is the aspect of this traditional medicine. You will agree with me that China has the best traditional medicine in the world, and they are making a whole lot of huge amount of money from it. So it really tells you that if Nigeria and all stakeholders also comes together, we can be able to do same, because we have all the natural resources here, we have all the plants, we have all the people, the practitioners, but the only thing we need is to encourage them, is to bring more equipment, is to see how we can be able to bring government to support them, so that Nigeria also can be able to generate a whole lot of economic gain from this traditional medicine.
Now let's take it to Anambra State, where the returning officer of the Anambra State governorship election, Professor Florent Obi, has said that the supplementary election will hold in 362 polling units in Ihiala local government area on Tuesday, November 9th. Citing the constitution, Professor Obi noted that the election had to take place in those polling units for the election to be conclusive. She noted that the election did not take place in Ihiala because there were reports of insecurities in the area. Now, meanwhile, the candidate of the All Progressive Grand Alliance, Professor Chukwuma Solodo, leads with a total vote of 403,946. Now, moving about to Plateau State, Senator Ida Gyang of Plateau North Senatorial District has sponsored the training of 615 youth from 73 electoral wards in 6 local government areas of Plateau North Senatorial District on post-season farming and agro-produce marketing skills. Now, the Deputy Chairman, Senate Committee on Defense, Senator Gyang, while declaring the training section open, says the training is to empower youth in the constituency with necessary skills to boost agriculture, maximize profit and benefit from farm produce and labor. Our correspondent Nasir Saidi from Jos tells us more.
Economic difficulties facing Nigeria as a nation and the increased number of unemployed graduates, distinguished Senator Ida Gyang of Plateau North Senatorial District has sponsored the training of 615 youths from 73 electoral wards in the 6 LGAs of Plateau North Senatorial District on post-season farming and agro-produce marketing skills. The senator, who undertook the training in conjunction with Federal College of Horticulture, Gombe, said the people of the zone were mostly agrarian and hence the need for the training.
Our stakeholders and all of us from Plateau North, this is a bipartisan training that is not limited to PDP, but is for all citizens of Plateau North, because I am representing the entire people.
party stakeholders and top politicians present at the event applauded the man, distinguished Senator Idi Gyang, for the positive impact and the record performance as a credible representative of Plateau in the red chambers.
We are very, very, very proud of what you are doing. And the party is there to support you. The party is here behind you.
This is a knowledge that you are going to get for lifetime if you really, really put it into use.
This is the people's senator. It's not about party alone, but you can see a very large heart. What else could we have asked for in the northern zone?
It was designed by God for our senator to take the lead at the National Assembly.
We've never had something of this nature happening on the Plateau North. We really thank God for his life, and we are praying that God should continue to strengthen him, give him more privilege to do more.
He has done well, and this is what we expect from our representatives.
This training that is in horticulture, in post-harvest management, is to target one of the key economic activity in my constituency, which is agriculture. A greater number of my constituents are farmers, and the management of post-harvest management has become so critical so that we can draw benefit from the labor and investment that our people do on their farms.
Each of the 615 benefiting youths from Plateau North Senatorial District were empowered with seed and trader money to put to use the knowledge acquired at the training. Nasru Saidu, VIEWERTV News, Jos.
Now, Justice Okoena Bank of Federal High Court in Abuja on Monday sentenced the former chairman of now defunct pension reforms tax team, Abdul Rashid Maina, guilty to 61 years imprisonment, both to run concurrently for 8 years. The court had found him guilty of inducing staff of Fidelity Bank to open bank account for him without conducting due diligence and money laundering. Now, delivering the judgment, Justice Abang also found him guilty of concealing his true identity as signatory to accounts opened in UBA and Fidelity Bank by using the identity of his family members without their knowledge. Now, these accounts were said to have cash deposits of 300 million naira, 500 million naira, and 1.5 billion naira. The court held that Maina stole monies meant for pensioners, as he could not prove where he got some from. Justice Abang also held that through Maina's service as a civil servant, his salary and emoluments would not amount to the monies in these accounts. Now, the Minister of Sports, Youth and Development, Sunday Dare, says the ministry is concurrently partnering FIP in training 5,000 youths in digital skills both online and offline. The minister said this during the 2021 budget performance and the 2022 budget proposal before the House Committee on Youth and Sport Development. Dare said the ministry ensured this youth cut across the 6 geopolitical zones of the country for national spread, since unemployment is a big challenge in the country. Now, the minister said the ministry has 48 youth development centers across the country, but many have been taken over by lawmakers who have turned them to constituency projects, adding that the ministry is hopeful of completing 12 across the geographical zones. Now, the minister said out of the 20 billion naira proposed for the 2021 budget, only a mega of 5 billion naira was given to the ministry, blaming the envelope system adopted by the finance ministry as impedance to project performance. Earlier, chairman of the committee, Honorable Yomi, charged the ministry in ensuring that Nigerian youth are given top priority on the 2021 budget.
To get past the PPP, the finance ministry has assured us we've had the final meetings. They're just waiting for that no objection document. The loan management system is ready, developed over 6 months, that there will be a major impact when it comes to empowerment of our youth.
Nigerian youths must be leaders. And in order for Nigerian youths to be leaders today, there must be a very deliberate action from the leadership of Nigeria, especially the ministry that oversees, that houses everything that belongs to Nigerian youth. That's why today the only thing we want to hear from the Honorable Minister is those things that are going to put very enough smiles into the faces of Nigerian youth, so that we know the resultant effects of not caring for our youth. We know the evils in it, and we know that Nigeria needs peace. Nigeria needs progress, and if that is so, it means that the bulk of the population of Nigeria, which is about 65%, that Nigerian youths constitute, definitely we cannot just wave them with the back of the hand. We have to do very welcome appropriation to ensure and to make sure that Nigerian youths they take their rightful position in place of priorities in Nigerian budgeting, appropriation, and expedition.
When News Live returns, gunmen suspected to be bandit have attacked Rijia village in Gasua local government area of Zamfara state, during which they killed 6 people and abducted several others. Details of these and more comes to you right after this break. Just stay tuned.
Hi, my name is Ike Matom. Being an anchor has been a tremendous experience, from editing the news to reading the news. As an anchor, you have to be objective and impartial. Sometimes you have to put on a very indifferent look, a stoic character, such that you do not display your emotions. But then the stories that we tell, from politics to the economy to insecurity to education, also affect us. And as journalists, we are also affected by stories. From the teleprompter to the lights to the camera to the action to the reading of the news, it's all a synchronization of various activities at the same time. Sometimes you have to listen to feedback, sometimes you have to stop, sometimes you have to continue. Sometimes, there are technical hitches that we can never overlook, but then you have to come up with a strategy, you have to come up with your professionalism to ensure that the audience do not even know what is happening behind the scenes, and then you just have to carry on.
Welcome back, you were just joining us. This is News Live on Viewer Television. A recap of our top stories. Drama's Imo Assembly impeached Speaker, Imeziem installs EB. Ikoyi collapse building death toll hit 44 plus. Sierra Leone's President Julius Maada visits Freetown explosion sites. Now, gunmen suspected to be bandit have attacked Rajia village in Gasua local government area of Zamfara state, during which they killed 6 people and abducted several others. A resident of the village, Musa Sani, who fled to Gasua town, told his men that the bandits who were on motorcycles came to the village around 1:30 in the afternoon Sunday and began to shoot at people. He maintained that he was in the other part of the village when he heard gunshots and screaming at the villagers who were shouting for help. This made him run to the bush for safety. The spokesperson of the State Police Command, SP Mohammed Shehu, could not be reached for comment at the time of filing this report. Now, meanwhile, newsmen have gathered that the bandits are still attacking the people of the state despite the security measures taken by the state government to stop the menace. Many farmers have abandoned their farmlands and could not harvest their crops due to persistent attacks by the bandits. Now, 1 week after 66 worshippers abducted from Emmanuel Baptist Church in Kakao, the Jichikon local government area of Kaduna State, have been killed by bandits. They were said to have been adopted on October 31, 2021 during church service. The Vice President of CAN, 19 Northern State in Abuja, and its chairman in Kaduna State, Reverend Joseph Hayab, disclosed the development in a message sent to newsmen. Now, according to him, the bandit opened fire on 5 of their victims on Saturday and killed 2, while 3 others who sustained injuries are currently in the hospital. When contacted to make further clarification, especially how the injured were taken to the hospital and whether they were taken there by the bandit, Hayab declined further comments, saying, and in quotes, "We are not happy with the news. We are in pain." Now, 3 IDPs have been killed and few others injured in a fire outbreak in Mona Garage, outskirts of Maiduguri. This is the 3rd fire inferno that has destroyed temporary makeshift tents of displaced persons this year. Correspondent Beatrice Kurisi was at the scene where the IDPs counted losses in sadness.
The 3rd fire outbreak started at about 10:30 a.m. of Sunday morning after a previous day occurrence that razed down 205 makeshift tents in Mona Garage IDP camp. The inferno claimed 3 lives and injured few. It remains unknown the cause of the fire outbreak. Yagana Tasilim is among the fire victims. All her belongings were burnt to ashes. The mother of 4 said she was at her farmland when it happened.
da su hasi da su wake da su shinkafa da ana rabawa din ma duk ya kona shi da su mai da su jargal da su katifan namu gaba da ya kona asan babu da ka ko ka da ma cin ma din ma an ba mu je daji ba mu je misali ka ta kawai ba za mu sha
Mona camp is largely populated by farmers displaced from Mafa local government. It's a haven for 300 households living in makeshift tents. For now, Yagana and other displaced persons will spend the night at the exact spot that was once a home until help comes their way. The incident is happening a day after a similar fire outbreak injured 3 female students at the University of Maiduguri. Beatrice Kuruti, Viewer Television News, Maiduguri.
Many persons were feared dead in a fire outbreak that occurred at the Kubwan main market in Abuja. The fire outbreak was caused by an explosion from a phone used by a kerosene seller. An eyewitness told newsmen that the phone used by the kerosene seller caused the carnage. He said several shops and people were burnt to death, including the seller. Another eyewitness, Cecilia Ajegba, said an explosion was due to an electricity transformer close to the kerosene tank.
After he said the tanker left, around 7 or 7:30, what he heard was blowing. You hear boom. That's all. Fire everywhere.
I was sitting here selling plantain, then this guy back from here. Then I know this way and I got and I run, so I don't know how to do it. Right now, I don't follow here again. I went back, I follow back next time to my house, so I don't know how to end.
I hear that this thing now starts, this fire now starts. We got plenty people born. We carry one person go to this general hospital, no Greek connect am. Nobody connect am. They say nothing. For here, the thing will happen for here. What did I say happen for the hospital? They say
they are not accepting any patient without a police alarm.
I will say on behalf of the fire service, they really did well. They perfected very well. Because if not them, all these buildings you are seeing behind here will go down. Because the level of the fire that night was something, I don't know how I just explain it, but I really thank God they did. Unlike before, I have never seen them perform that way. Honestly, they did well. I give kudos to them.
Thank God Almighty for what had happened. Because in any situation, we just have to give God the glory. No matter how ugly the situation might be, we will thank God. But if you see the incident that happens yesterday in Cuba, I am here to stand that it's a lesson to all, because as the executive chairman of Buhari Area Council, we have been here in order to sanitize this place. We have been here in order to warn people not to be selling along the road. And I want to tell you that people are so rude that, that whenever we have, in fact, the task force committee we are made, that every day we spend money in order to come here to make sure that nobody stay by the road to sell. And as it may be, we have evidences to prove beyond a reasonable doubt.
This is totally a wrong perception, a wrong dealing. So this is not something that should be encouraged. As you understand, look at their position, look at the residential buildings, look at their proximity, very, very close. So it's really wrong. Entirely is very wrong. As you understand, thank you so much. This is flammable something, and when it happens that it involves lives and property.
Now, on food hike, the Nigerian Association of Women Journalists has expressed concern over the spate of insecurity in the country and the rising cost of food items, cooking gas, amongst others. The complaint was stated in a communique signed by the National Secretary Helen Udofa at the end of the Nawoj NEC meeting held in Lafia, Nasarawa State between November 3rd to 5th, 2021. Now, the communique was made available to journalists at the meeting presided over by the national president of Nawoj, Comrade Ladi Bala. Issues concerning the cessation and the state of the nation were extensively discussed on the NEC in session. Now, Peugeot Automobile Nigeria President Ahmad Wadada had trained 1,000 women in various skills acquisition in the Western Senate District of Nasarawa and provided them with 10 million naira starter kits. Presenting the packs to beneficiaries who underwent intensive 5-day training in Kefi, Nasarawa State, Wadada said the gesture is aimed at reducing poverty among rural women in West Nasarawa State. The PAN chairperson, who is also the founder of the Wadada Education Foundation, said the empowerment program will boost the development of entrepreneurship in the district. Responding on behalf of the beneficiaries, Hawal McKefi, who was trained in catering service, expressed gratitude to Wadada for training her in modern catering service skills and providing her with a starter kit.
The first empowerment that Wadada Education Foundation is embarking upon. But this time around, we targeted women because we all know what it is to empower or educate a woman. When you educate and empower a woman, you are empowering the entire society. Educate a woman, you educate a nation. Empower a woman, you empower the nation. So that is why we have chosen this time around to empower our women, and not just to empower them by acquiring skills, but to, of course, complement it with starter packs for them, so that you do not empower them by training them to acquire the skills and you let them go home empty-handed. If they go home empty-handed, the skills that they have acquired may go to waste because they may not have the wherewithal financially to be able to start on their own. And that is why we have put together starter packs for the trainers in the various aspects of the skills they have acquired, so as to take home and commence operations immediately after the training.
While growing up, I have been a humanitarian, and anytime I went to any rural communities and see women, how women suffer, what I actually crave for them is two things: education and skills. So seeing him empower almost 1,000 plus women is actually something that I'm really, really happy about, because the woman, if you educate a woman, is like you educate the entire world. So empowering her with skills, she'll help so many people. She'll come across her friends, her family, her husband, and so many other people. So I think it's a win-win.
Now, stakeholders in governance have urged Nigerian youths to be advocates of good governance and leadership in order to make Nigeria a better place. They gave the advice in separate interviews with newsmen at the second Global Good Governance Award and Summit held in Abuja. The theme for the award is Good Governance Mentality for Global Impact. Founder of Good Leadership for Africa, an Abuja-based non-governmental organization, Dr. Diakpo Obire, said the aim of the award is to encourage African leaders to take their place as leaders among world leaders. Now, Ambassador Louis Temerson, Mayor Kinultimate International magazine, said a lot of people, institutions, and NGOs are worthy of celebration because they advocate good governance. Now, Ambassador Anthony Wangu disclosed that good governance should be measured by good directions and steps taken by a leader to ensure life was easy for people.
Needs to rise laws. We don't have this, we don't have that to promote the culture of good governance, how it should be practiced. At least there are some persons in governance today that are doing well in their various ways, in their various endeavors. And there are some organizations that do well in the aspect of governance to staff's welfare, payment of staff salary, empowerment of youth, empowerment of community development, and in general. This set of persons we deem fit to encourage and support them, to tell them thank you for the good things you are doing in society. That we at Mayor Peace Agency, we are observing, we are watching, though the highest reward comes from God, that we here can celebrate ourselves on earth. And it pays well that we know that you are being celebrated for little things that you're doing for humanity. That is why we set out to celebrate every individual in this house tonight.
The King Council is done reasonably well, considering the fact that in our society today, we don't measure someone's achievements based on the right direction the person has taken. We measure prosperity, we measure achievements based on how much cash we have. In most cases, it's not that way because and such people drive in the right direction. So for many things, they're done with.
Now, Lagos State Waterways Authority has just concluded a one-week training on waterway safety for 100 pupils in riverine communities. The training becomes the second edition tagged Lagos Water Savvy Kids program. LASWA partnered with Lagos State Universal Basic Education Board and Dolphin Swim School on the training. General Manager of LASWA, Olawademolali Emmanuel, end of the program, said the students were from 4 public schools in riverine communities in the Ojo axis of Lagos State. Emmanuel also added that the training is aimed at instilling water confidence in public schools pupils by giving them theoretical and practical knowledge on waterway safety, swimming skills and basic survival techniques in an emergency. A permanent board member, Lagos State Universal Basic Education Board, Dayo Israel, described the training as phenomenal. The founder and lead instructor, Dolphin Swim School and Dolphin Aquatic Center Limited, also emphasized the use of life jackets, while one of the beneficiaries from local authority school, Ibishe Dorato, Davud, said she has learned diving, swimming, and basic survival strategies.
Ensuring that we just want as many of these pupils to be able to swim as possible. What we're trying to do under the Babajide Olusola Sanwo-Olu administration to make Lagos a 21st century city is to develop our schools, and that's what we're doing with the Excel. We're changing the content of school, we're digitalizing our classroom. But that would not be enough to improve the cognitive without also working on the affective and the psychomotor. That's what we're doing here today in Ibeshe, to empower the young children and give them capacity to be able to become Olympic gold medalists someday.
We've been able to have a week-long program where we taught the children how to be water safe, the importance of water safety, and the steps to water safety. and they've been able to, grasp the concept, understand the knowledge. They are water safe far now. They were also able to learn how to use the life jacket properly, and how to swim with the life jacket. So when we're invited to do this, it's something we've always been passionate about, because a child learning how to be water safe means drowning prevention. So that means the rate of deaths by drowning is significantly reduced. And they go on the boats every day, to school and back. So if they know this now, it's best for us, because then the probability of them drowning is almost nil now, because they know what to do.
I learned about how to wear the life jacket. I learned how to swim in the water in case if we fall in the water, because we live around the water, the deep water. So in case if we fall around, in fact, I stay across the water. If I fall down, I will be able to know how to rescue myself from the water.
We learn how to swim, how to save our neighbor. We learn how to dive in the water. We learn how to enter the pool and come out of the.
And on Business Today, the Central Bank of Nigeria has fixed the maximum loan amount that a participant in its newly introduced initiative called 100 for 100 PPP policy on production and productivity can get at 5 billion naira. The Apex Bank said the initiative would be implemented in collaboration with relevant stakeholders with a focus on micro and microeconomic impact in terms of contributions to GDP and export, sustainable jobs created, local content development, production output and capacity utilization, and integration into the global value chain. It said interest rate under the intervention would be at not more than 5% per annum up to February 28, 2022, adding that interest on the facility would revert to 9%, all-inclusive, effective from March 1, 2022. Now, according to the guidelines, the broad objective of the initiative is to reverse the nation's over-reliance on imports by creating an ecosystem that targets and supports the right projects with the potential to transform and catalyze the productive base of the economy. Now, the Zamfara state government has concluded arrangement to plant 1 million trees in the state in partnership with Nigeria's Great Green Wall, aimed at fighting desertification of soil erosion in the state. In a statement, the Director General Media, Public Enlightenment and Communications Government House, Kasua Yusuf Idris, said the governor made the declaration in Glasgow, United Kingdom, when he hosted Zamfara stateside event at the ongoing COP26. The governor lamented that climate change, which was a major driving force to armed banditry but value in the state, was the resultant effect of the taking over of pastoralists, grazing reserves, water and resting points. He stressed that the state government was now channeling resources to address all the challenges, including the establishment of modern pastoral settlements known as Shuga. Now, the governor said the state government has already keyed into the World Bank-funded Agroclimatic Resilience and Semi-Arid Landscapes Program, which has desertification control and landscape management as one of its components. The Nigerian stock market lost 12.58 billion naira last week as investors took profits in oil and gas, banking and consumer goods stocks. The oil share index of the Nigerian Exchange Limited dropped by 0.6% to close the week at 42,014.50 basis points from 42,014.50 basis points the previous week, while the market capitalization fell to 21.93 trillion naira from 21.94 trillion naira. All other indices finished lower with the exception of NGX Main Board, NGX Insurance, NGX Merry Growth, NGX Lotus 2 and NGX Industrial Goods indices, which appreciated by 0.32%, 0.99%, 0.9%, 0.15% and 0.88% respectively, with while the NGX SM index closed flat. The NGX Banking, Oil and Gas and Consumer Goods indices dropped by 1.73%, 1.63% and 0.74% respectively. A total turnover of 1.428 billion shares worth 12.37 billion naira in 23,987 deals was traded last week by investors on the floor of the NGX in contrast to a total of 3.1 billion shares valued at 34.547 billion that exchanged hands in 25,932 deals the previous week. Measured by volume, the financial services industry led the activity charts with 1.1 billion shares, valued at 7.99 billion naira traded in 12,208 deals, thus contributing 70.75% and 64.60% to the total equity turnover volume and value respectively. Now, the international scene, Syrian lone President Dr. Julius Maada has ended his visit to survivors of the tragic fuel tanker explosion at the emergency hospital in Kohatrams after addressing and sympathizing with people at the scene of the disaster and beyond. At Wellington, the president was received at the Fire Interagency Briefing Center of the National Disaster Management Agency, where the incident manager Sinel Mansari briefed him on the collective effort of respondents, among them local and international non-government organizations. He added that preliminary reports from damage and loss assessments show that 2 dwelling houses and 5 households, 5 shops, 2 vehicles were involved in the accident. 20 vehicles were caught in the blaze and 42 motorbikes, mostly from riders who were involved in the first scooping. Addressing a large crowd of community people from on top of a pickup truck at the scene of the disaster, His Excellency President Julius said he was there to sympathize with the compatriots who had lost their relatives and pray for those who are at the hospitals.
For make the able collect the one day when the body is really bad, for make we see how we will give them a dignified burial. So I want for you this opportunity for sympathize with everybody in this community. Blame or no blame. For now, we will take care of the wounded, we will take care of the one that we don't lost their life. And as a community, come together and learn from this so that never again, I will say never again. Yeah?
The U.S. has reopened its borders to double-jabbed foreign visitors and a 20-month entry ban. The ban was imposed by former President Donald Trump due to COVID-19. It has affected non-U.S. citizens from over 30 countries, including the UK and EU states, separating families and stalling tourism. Airlines are expecting a flood of visitors as the restrictions are lifted for those who are fully vaccinated and undergo testing and contact tracing. In an effort to stop the spread of coronavirus, U.S. borders were initially closed to travelers from China in early 2020. The restrictions were then extended to other countries.
There's the airport, and that'll be tears all around, I think, in a way. So it's going to be quite emotional.
Because he's like a gentle giant, because he's extremely tall. So I just want to feel those arms.
Sounds like the hug will be the biggest
Don't need to speak to him. I just don't need to speak. Just hold him. That's felt like a lifetime. And every day we've been checking the news and checking the papers and listening to the radio as to when America was opening up to us.
It's home comforts you misses.
Yeah,
Yorkshire
Yorkshire tea bags.
Yorkshire tea bags. There's
Hobnobs, chocolate hobnobs, bachelor's noodles.
English mustard. They must
have
English
Coleman's mustard. Sticky toffee pudding. I hope we can take it through, but it's in the suitcase.
You've only room for your clothes, right?
No.
Well, yeah, not much room for the clothes.
Not take a lot of clothes.
A Polish security official has warned that the country is facing the largest attempt by migrants to cross into Poland from Belarus. On Monday, the Belarusian website Nasha Niva posted on its Telegram channel video footage of what appeared to be hundreds of migrants walking along the road leading to the border. Other recordings posted online show migrants gathering by a car parked in front of the border crossing a Bruksky in the Belarusian side of the border. Also visible in the clip are Belarusians and personnel with dogs. Stanislaus, director of the National Security Department, described these as very disturbing information from the border. In a follow-up entry, he added that the group was dominated by young men. The largest attempt to date to enter Poland by force has just begun. The GPK, the Belarusian border guard, said that the Belarusian side is taking all necessary measures to ensure the smooth operation of international communication channels as well as the safety of people who move along the routes. Now, civil society groups in Sudan have called for a 2-day strike and rejected internationally backed efforts for talks with the military over a power-sharing arrangement. Sudan's pro-democracy movement has announced a 2-day nationwide civil disobedience campaign starting Sunday. The call for strikes came as effort to resolve the political crisis in the African nation after the October 25th military coup reached a standstill. The Sudanese Professionals Association, the union which led the 2019 uprising against longtime autocrat Omar al-Bashir, called on protesters to man barricade firms Saturday night to prepare for the strikes. Since the coup, international organizations and mediators have sought to find ways out of the crisis through negotiations. Now, anti-coup protesters have rejected internationally backed efforts to return to a power-sharing arrangement with the military, and in quotes, no negotiation, no partnership, no legitimacy. They said no social media calling for complete civil disobedience on Sunday and Monday. And that's all we can take on this live, but before we go, recap of the headlines. Drama's Imo Assembly impeached Speaker Emize, installs EB. Ikoyi collapsed building that stole hit 44 plus. Sierra Leone's President Julius Maada visits Freetown explosion sites. To stay tuned for the rest of our programs, many thanks for watching. Good night.